Hey y'all, it's Dawn, and I'm so glad you're back. I've got another fun, budget-friendly DIY video for you today. This is another collab, and I'll tell you more about it in a minute. Now for the first DIY. I used this little sign I got from Goodwill for 99 cents to create an adorable harvest tier tray sign. I sprayed the sign with awesome cleaner and used a paper towel to remove all the dust, dirt, and grime. For the frame, I used Americana antiquing wax. I painted it on with a paintbrush and then removed it with a paper towel. For the inside, I used apple barrel white acrylic paint and dried it with my heat gun. I used this plaid paper I got from Hobby Lobby and used Mod Podge and some new Mod Podge brushes to attach it to the center of the frame. You can find a link directly to Plaid where I get my Mod Podge and the accessories in the description, in case you're like me and you can't find it in stores near you. Oh, and I also got this Mod Podge squeegee, which works great on thicker paper to remove the bubbles. I then added another layer of Mod Podge to the top of the paper to protect it. I removed the metal from this piece with a Dollar Tree scraper. I wanted to add it to the frame I had just finished. I first tried to attach the harvest part to the frame with hot glue, and then had to use super glue because of the metal. Metal and hot glue just don't like each other. I found these little pumpkins in a bag in my stash and thought they would be so adorable attached to this little sign. I hot glued them in the corner. This little tier tray sign turned out cuter than I thought it would. And look at how stinking cute it is on this little tray. And it was so easy to put together. Let me know in the comments what you think of this little fall tier tray sign. I just love it. This is a simple, easy, and quick fall DIY I think you're going to really love. I used Dollar Tree balloons to create these adorable little pumpkins. The first thing you'll want to do is cut the neck off of the balloons. I put 2 fingers in the balloon and grabbed a handful of stuffing and began stuffing the balloon until I was happy with the size. You can make these pumpkins whatever size you want, depending on how much stuffing you put in them. After the balloon was stuffed, I rolled it around in my hand to shape it up. I added twine to add the indentions into the pumpkin. I actually tied the twine each time it overlapped. This actually helped to keep the twine in place. I tried just crossing it over, and when I got ready to move the twine into place, it would always slip off. When I was finished, I tied a knot at the top of the balloon. I moved the twine around and arranged it so that the balloon looked like a pumpkin. If you like farmhouse decor and DIYs, go ahead and hit the subscribe button now. And if you hit the bell notification, YouTube will notify you when I upload a new video. Short twig as the pumpkin stem and hot glued it to the top. I was afraid the hot glue would melt the balloon, but it worked without any problems. I then glued Spanish moss to the top and shaped it up and trimmed it. And look at how adorable these three little pumpkins are. I'm going to get some other color balloons and make more of these for sure. I think they are so stinking cute and they are so super easy to make. Let me know in the comments if you'll be adding these adorable pumpkins to your fall decor this season. Today's video is part of the Crafted by Corey monthly minis challenge. If you love minis and tiara tray decor, you will love this playlist. I'll leave a link to Corey's page along with a link to the playlist in the description. So be sure to go check out the playlist at the end of this video. I got this cute little owl candle holder at Goodwill for $1.99. It was cute and everything, but a little dated to me. I used some Waverly mineral chalk paint and painted the entire owl, even the inside. But that didn't give me the look I was going for. So I added some Dollar Tree spackling and some of the mineral chalk paint in a bowl and mixed it up. I used a paintbrush and applied the mixture to the entire piece and dried it with my heat gun. I used a skewer to knock off some of the mixture around the eyes and in the holes of the owl so you could still tell what it was. And when I was finished, this is what it looked like. I wanted to bring out more of the details of the owl. In a small container, I mixed some Waverly antiquing wax and water together. I applied this lightly to the owl with a chip brush. And I just loved how the antiquing wax looked on the little owl. After the owl was dry, I placed some floral foam into the opening at the top of the owl. Since you could see the floral foam through the holes in the front of the owl, I used some reindeer moss and shoved it in to cover the floral foam. Next, I added various floral picks from Dollar Tree. And just look at how stinking cute the owl turned out. And it just looks amazing on my fall tiara tray. Let me know in the comments what you think of this adorable little owl. I used these 3 plywood rectangles. I think I got them in a packet from Walmart for this project. I added some apple barrel burnt umber paint to a small amount of water and mixed it well to create a stain. I painted the stain mixture onto the wood and dried it with my heat gun. The The stain was a little lighter than I wanted, so I added a small amount of Dollar Tree black acrylic paint and stirred it into the stain mixture. I applied the darker mixture to the boards, dried it with my heat gun, and then added another layer. The third coat gave me the richness I was looking for. I created these cut files in Design Space and then cut them out using Oracle 813 stencil vinyl. After weeding the vinyl, I applied it to some duck shelf liner. I know that sounds crazy, but I'll tell you this works great as transfer paper. I can reuse it over and over, and it's even great at picking up small print. I'll leave a link to the Amazon store I get mine from in case you want to give it a try. I applied the stencil to the stained wood, used my Mod Podge roller to make sure it was stuck good, and then removed the transferred paper. For the bonfire sign, I used Waverly Maze chalk paint, and the font I used was Abelia. I'm not sure how to say it, but here it is. And I think I got it from defont.com, but I'm not positive. I know it was a free font because I very rarely pay for fonts. Honestly, I can't remember ever paying for a font. I also used a Dollar Tree makeup sponge and a clothespin as my stencil brush. I saw another crafter do this, and I'll tell you, it really works. In my opinion, I have been more successful with this than I do with actual stencil brushes. I pounced the paint onto the stencil. I did this because I wanted my lines to be as crisp as possible with as little bleed through as possible. I moved the bonfire sign out of the way and started working on the next sign. I used my Mod Podge roller again and thought I would give the Mod Podge squeegee a try to see if it would help the stencil stick better. For the apple cider sign, I used Waverly Moss chalk paint, and the font I used was Grillin'. I also decided to use a Dollar Tree paintbrush to apply the paint. And with that one painted, it's time for the third sign. After applying the vinyl, I used my finger to make sure the stencil was stuck. I used Waverly pumpkin chalk paint and the pouncing method with the Dollar Tree makeup sponge and clothespin. The font I used was Magazine. I'll try to find all of these fonts and leave links to them in the description. I wanted to try all three stencil methods to see which one gave me the sharpest lines. After the signs dried, I removed the vinyl to see how they turned out. The apple cider sign turned out perfect with no bleed through. The pumpkin sign has no bleed through, and using the pouncing method, it created a weathered look. Even the bonfire sign looked good, so I now know you need to use more than just a roller to attach the stencil. To make the stands for each of the signs, I used leftover pieces of paint sticks that I stained using the same mixture I used on the bonfire sign. I put hot glue on the side of the paint stick and attached it to the sign just a little bit above the bottom. You don't want to attach directly at the bottom or the sign won't stand up. I learned this earlier in my crafting adventures after making a sign and trying to figure out why it kept tipping over. And look at how cute these stenciled tiara tray signs turned out. Let me know in the comments what you think of these little tiara tray signs. I saw these adorable palette pumpkins on Facebook and knew I wanted to make a few for myself. I painted 3 Dollar Tree palettes with orange acrylic paint that I got from Dollar Tree. The only paint I've used from Dollar Tree was the white, and I didn't like it, but I was very impressed with this orange. The color is bright and the coverage is amazing for $1 acrylic paint. I will definitely be using more of their colored paints in the future. I mixed the paint with water to create an orange stain. I wanted the wood grain to show. I painted the 2 smaller palettes with the stain. For the larger palette, I mixed in a small amount of apple barrel burnt umber, so the color would be a little darker than the 2 smaller palettes. And then I realized I really liked the darker color, so I went back and added it to the 2 smaller palettes. I had this ivy in my stash and thought the stem would be perfect for the pumpkin stems. After cutting the stem, I used a marker to make a little curl in the stem for the pumpkins, and then straightened the end so I could glue it to the back of the pallets. At first, I was going to use the ivy leaves, but then remembered I had some fall leaves and decided to use them. I hot glued everything onto the pallets. If you like farmhouse decor and DIYs, go ahead and hit the subscribe button now. And if you hit the bell notification, YouTube will notify you when I upload a new video. I then made 2 simple bows using this Dollar Tree ribbon and hot glued them to the front of the 2 smaller palette pumpkins. I decided to wrap some twine around the larger pumpkin. The 2 smaller palette pumpkins will stand on their own, and I added 2 tumbling tower blocks to the back of the larger one to help it stand. I glued the blocks even with the bottom boards running across the back. And look at how stinking cute these little palette pumpkins turned out. They are so farmhouse. I love them. Let me know in the comments what you think of these adorable little pumpkins. Don't forget to check out the playlist in the description. And thank you to all my loyal supporters. I really do appreciate it. If you found me through the playlist, I hope you will consider subscribing and joining the family. And I will see y'all next time. Happy crafting!